Welcome to Yin. We'll go ahead and start. As I talk about our goal for tonight, I thought we could do just a little bit of non-Yin that might help us move into our bodies. So maybe just lifting up one of your legs here for a second, just kind of rolling your hip around, and maybe your eyes can start to close and you can just sort of start to massage up and down that leg and massage the bottom of your foot and your toes and move your foot around your ankle. So just really play with that foot and that leg for a minute while I introduce the topic. And then whenever that feels good, you can go ahead and switch to the opposite leg and start rubbing that one as well. Sometimes it's nice to just take a couple of moments to really touch and connect with our body so that we can remember where we are. We can move out of our thoughts and move into the present moment. So as you just continue to massage and move a little bit here, I'll talk to you about today. So we'll be working today on our kidney meridian. The meridian is just a line of energy in your body. And the kidney meridian is really great for releasing fear and a bunch of other things that we'll talk about as we move into our practice today. The kidney meridians run along the inside of the legs, up through the groin and on either side of the spinal cord. And so we'll be doing a lot of work with our legs today here. So once those legs feel kind of comfortable, find a tall seat for just a moment, lifting your sternum, letting your chin fall in toward the back of your spine. Let your eyes close. Begin just taking a few deep breaths. Imagine breathing up from the earth, all the way out through the crown of your head, and then imagine breathing from up above your head, all the way down your spine and into the earth. Just feel like you're gathering together the pieces of yourself, everything that you may have left with other people in other places today. Feel like you're gathering it all together inside of your body. Feel yourself coming here now. And then noticing if there's any intention, a thought, a purpose for tonight coming up naturally. Connect with that or with the feeling. Take a deep inhale through the nose. Exhale with a sigh out of the mouth. Two more times, maybe making a sound. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Then extending your legs out in front of you for caterpillar pose. Maybe grabbing a blanket or bolster, whatever you have. And then just simply folding forward. Let your body or your head rest on your support. And if that isn't quite enough to relax, you can also elevate the hips a little bit here to make it easier to keep your legs straight as you bend forward. So wherever you find yourself, just make sure that you're supported. So maybe you need an extra rolled blanket or a block so that your forehead can come down and relax and soften. Or your cheek or whatever feels best. And once you're settled and you're in this spot, reconnect again with your intention, with your breath, and with your presence. Anytime we have a pose where we kind of curl in on ourselves, folding in on ourselves, it's a great chance to be sort of inward, to look inward. We all walk around with our story. We wear our story. Our story is written in the cells of our body. It's in the way that we carry ourselves. It's in the way that we speak. So there's an invitation here to just release your story for this little bit of time. Just sort of soften into the ground as you release that. Connecting with the part of us that's underneath the story, that's bigger than the story, that's older than the story, that's truer than the story. Find yourself getting softer through the shoulders, softer through the back of the neck, soft through the hands, the face. In the last little bit here, see if you can soften just a little bit more. Maybe you sink just a millimeter or two farther down into the ground, into yourself. And then gently come up out of that. Move your body in any way that it's asking for right now. No right or wrong, doesn't have to be a yoga pose, doesn't even have to be movement. Then gradually making your way onto your stomach for Sphinx pose or seal. And you may want to have a blanket or pillow nearby for one of the options. So here, one option is putting your elbows underneath shoulders. Just staying right like this. You can rest your head, let your head hang heavy. Another option is you can press your hands into the ground, straighten up your elbows for seal. Or a third option is you can take some sort of support, place that underneath your elbows so you're just a bit in between those two options. So whatever feels best here. And you can also play with keeping your feet together or opening your feet a little bit wider. They'll have a slightly different feeling for your back. And if it feels good to stretch your head up and back, do. Otherwise, you can just let your head be heavy. Just hang down here. This is a nice stretch through the back, also stretching out the front of that stomach. Connect with your breath, and every time you inhale, just feel your belly move into the ground. Noticing that sensation. So the kidneys are this area where we talk about willpower and perseverance and grit. Hard work, determination, tenacity. So when our kidney meridian is blocked, we can have fear, also indecisiveness, loneliness, submissiveness, procrastination. So in addition to softening all of our connective tissue by holding these poses, we're also softening and opening these lines of energy. And as you're in these long held poses, just notice what comes up for you. Does your mind immediately start wandering off into things that you need to do or things that happened? Are there any emotions that start to make themselves more apparent? And again, there's nothing right or wrong, so whatever it is that you notice, just welcome it, but be the witness to it. Notice the feeling of your arms or your hands on the ground. Be a witness to the sensation of your legs, the tops of your feet. And then how can you use the breath to soften and deepen in this position? In your last minute here, would it feel good to straighten your arms and to seal, go a little bit deeper, or are you in just the right position for you? If it starts to become too intense, you can also move your elbows slightly away from your body to decrease the sensation, moving them forward toward the top of the mat. Very gently coming out of that pose, maybe coming onto the stomach to rest or moving in any way that would feel good. I love these moments in between poses in Yin, because they're one of the few invitations that we have in our lives to really listen to our body. Or I guess rather, the invitation always exists, but we don't always think about it. What does my body want or need in this moment? Learning to listen. Whenever you feel ready, you can make your way into a seated position for shoelace. So putting your left leg on the bottom, knee points forward toward the front of your mat. Your right leg will come over the top. And then you're working towards having your knees stacked on one another. So a lot of times it looks more like this, which is totally fine. You can also play with the position of your feet, so notice what it feels like as you move them a little closer to your body or a little more parallel to the front of your mat. If this is a bit much for you, for your hip or your knee, you can take this bottom left leg and straighten it out in front of you and just have the right one crossed on top. That's another option, to do half shoelace. So find the spot for you, and then maybe you take something and just place it so that you can rest your forehead. You can use anything you've got on hand and make it the right height for you. And then just begin to breathe into that sensation. Probably feel some sensation on that right hip primarily. Yeah, just get creative with your props. It may feel good if you're in a spot where you can to just sort of rub your feet again a little bit. Give yourself a little foot massage. Or maybe even, depending on your support, rolling your forehead back and forth across your support to massage the forehead. Or maybe it just feels good to be totally still. How can you use the breath to anchor you and to soften you? Is there a story? Is your story involved in what you think about your body, the flexibility of your body, the mobility of your body? Can you let that story go? And can there just be total acceptance of your body as it is in this exact moment? Total love. If you received any negative feedback about your body, as a lot of us do, as you're growing up or even into adulthood, can you be the one to support yourself in this moment, to say the things about yourself that you would have loved to hear from other people? Can you be your best support system? Deepening your breath to fill in the space in your hip. Seeing if there's an invitation from your body to move a tiny bit deeper or not, respecting whatever it asks. Do you still feel connected to your intention, or did your intention start to slip away when you moved into sensation? Practice for holding on to our intention throughout our whole day. Holding on to this idea of who we are, of what we want most, and creating it, even in the face of sensation, thought, distraction. Good, and let's switch sides here. So gently coming out of that, knowing that your body will be a little bit tender. If there's any interlude movement that would feel good. And then whenever you feel ready, move to the opposite side. So right leg is underneath. And just notice this side. It may feel a little bit different. Play with getting both of your sit bones on the ground. And maybe with this side, you want to extend the leg. Maybe you don't. Either way is okay. Once again, seeing if you'd like to rest your forehead. And just release your shoulders. be playing for a moment with some square breath here, if that feels good. Maybe you inhale to the count of 5, hold for 5, exhale for 5, hold for 5, empty. You can always invite a mental mantra as well. Some mental mantras that I use are Satnam, which means I am truth, or I am, just I am. If you like the square breath, you can keep that going, but whatever kind of breathing you do, make sure that your breathing is helping you move through the sensation. It's helping you soften, and it's helping you stay present. Just keep softening. Last little bit here. Go ahead and unwind whenever that feels complete. And then move however you'd like to for a moment. Good. Whenever you want to, we're going to move into saddle. Saddle is a pose that's tricky for a lot of people. So I want to show you several options here, and I want you to make sure you're listening to your own body. So the beginning part of this would just be coming onto your knees. If this feels like a lot for your ankles or knees, just stay here. You can even sit on a cushion, and this is your pose. If you want to try this next part, if your knees are feeling happy, you can just scoot your feet out a little bit and sit down in between your legs. So if that feels like too much of a pull on the knees, come right back up out of that. If this feels okay, you can put a support of some kind behind your back, and then you can lie down on it. And maybe this is your pose. Another option is maybe you do it with just one leg out. So one leg is extended and it's half saddle. The other one is bent. Or maybe you're staying up here on your knees and just gently leaning back here. So just find a spot that works for you. Okay? Wherever you are, just find yourself breathing deeply and being really responsive to your body. So we don't ever want a pulling sensation, nothing sharp. Yeah. Just soften, love where you're at, love your version of the pose. And all of these poses in all forms of yoga, all different kinds of yoga, they're really to help us loosen up our bodies so that we can move into a mental state of meditation. So while it's really nice to work this connective tissue in these joints and these bones, the most important work that you'll do is the work of moving into that place of peacefulness inside. And something that Lucy says that I love is, your knees are always right. So whatever your knees tell you, they're the boss. Just listen to them. If you're in a position where you're opening it all through your heart, it's okay if you're not. But if you are, just notice the sensation of your heart and belly, especially as it moves with the breath. If you do have one leg extended, go ahead and switch which one is extended, because we're about halfway through with the pose. Can you gather yourself again? Notice if you're still all here. Once again, connecting with that heart breath. So moving the breath, imagining it moving in and out of your heart space. Keep the breath moving that way as you very gently come up out of that pose. And just move however you'd like to. Sometimes if you're back, it feels good to come forward or vice versa. And as you do this, can you just gently witness the result of the posture on your body and your mind? And then when you're ready, moving into wide legs here. So a couple of options. You can elevate your hips a little bit. That will make it easier, especially if you just elevate the front part of your pelvis. The back part of your pelvis and scoot forward a bit. That'll make it easier to access this. If this is a bit much here, you can also tuck one leg in and have a half butterfly. So then find something to lean forward on. And maybe the leaning forward motion is not very big. Looks something like this. Or maybe it's a little bit deeper onto a block. So just play with something that works for you. No stress or strain, just relax here. Just soften. If you don't quite have supports that are high enough, you can just stay lifted here and maybe just let your head drop. Shake your head yes or no, just releasing the back of your neck. You want to feel a nice stretch through the inner thighs and the groin, up along that kidney meridian. Some lifestyle things that we can do to support our kidney meridians are getting regular sleep and enough sleep, cutting down on the amount of caffeine and alcohol, there's a lot of sensation here. Sometimes it's nice to squeeze or contract those muscles where you feel it the most for a moment. Take a couple of deep breaths, then release them, and then relax and soften into the pose. Can you revisit here your mental mantra or your intention or your breath, whatever feels best? If you'd like to, maybe you can even ask yourself in this moment of stillness, what sort of fear am I holding on to? Or how is fear holding me back? Just the role of fear in your life. And if that puts you too much in your thinking brain, then move right back into the breath. Notice the sensations in your body. What do your heels feel like? Last little bit here, use the breath to soften. Inhale as you slowly come up. And then move any way you would like to. Try and keep your eyes closed in these moments in between so that you can really feel into your body. Going to make our way onto our back for a variation on a twist. You may want to just stay seated for a moment so you can watch me. This is slightly different than normal. You want to have some sort of maybe blanket or pillow as an option on your right side. Let's see. I know sometimes the mic cuts out when I lie down, so hopefully that's not happening. You'll extend your right leg out, bring your left leg in and across the chest like a normal twist, except this time you'll kick the right leg back and maybe you grab the toes or the foot, maybe not, and then just relax that shoulder onto the ground. Okay. So go ahead and come onto your back. For now, extend your right leg out. Bring your left knee into your chest. Then draw that knee across your body and maybe it rests on top of a pillow or blanket or maybe it goes toward the ground. And then just bend that leg that's on the bottom, bend that knee, and it's totally okay if you don't quite reach your toes there. So you can use a strap or a belt or something, or you can just bend the knee, reach the arm back, and just relax them there. And then see if you can soften your shoulders into the ground and find the spot that feels best for your head and neck here. Just find something really comfortable. Soft. There's no pain and no strain, so just really gentle. And if this really isn't working for you, feel free to just move into a traditional twist. Always, if there's a pose that is not resonating with you or doesn't feel good for your body, listen to your body. Deepen the breath. Notice everywhere you feel sensation. So practice finding an anchor. An anchor can be your breath. An anchor can be noticing all of the sounds around you. An anchor can be noticing the sensations in your body or the feeling of the ground. Some people connect with a feeling of their core or the center of them. So an anchor is just something that we can come back to when we start to wander away from the present moment. So maybe you can play with a few of those different anchors to see which one resonates the most with you. A mantra can also be an anchor. And really what you're doing, if you're finding that anchor and returning to it, that is meditation. Tremendous, tremendous benefits. Help in every way for just finding an anchor and bringing yourself back. Very gently let go of the foot if you're holding it. Gently come up out of the twist. Maybe finding your spine, finding your center before moving to the opposite side. This time, left leg is extended out. Right knee comes in and across. And then maybe reaching for that left foot. Noticing the difference between the two sides. Offering your body love and acceptance and appreciation for whatever this pose looks like for you. And maybe choosing to move back to your anchor again. Sometimes if there's a lot happening around me, there's a lot of stimuli or a lot of sound, I'll use that as my anchor. Just really noticing the sound, all of the sound.